I talked about 6 months ago. I said, I don't want to drop this on you last minute.
Yeah. That's always good. He's not running again either. Coming up, but not this term.
Gretchen?
They came on as you walked out.
She told me today.
All right. Are we ready? Okay. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, 7 p.m. Heydrich,
Aye.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Obermark, Patke,
Here.
Pettit, Scornia,
Here.
Solentrup,
Here.
Wessels.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated January 4th, 2021? Heydrich,
Aye.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Patke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Solentrup,
Yes.
Wessels.
Aye.
Having read the minutes, are there any comments or questions?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Heydrich, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated January 4, 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've approved the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Make a motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Heydrich, to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the agenda. Thank you.
Priority items, mayor's presentation, appointments and reappointments, police department reappointments.
Okay, this evening in your packet, we have the reappointment of 2 police officers. First one being Matthew Cooper, and the second is Chief Ed Menifee. So you're going to give us a good report on both of those. Yeah.
Cooper is a better officer, comes from us from Lancaster Sheriff's Department. This is his first 6 months in the city. He has done a fabulous job. I'd recommend both of them.
Okay, okay.
I don't know about that.
Matthew's the young man who was a fireman before, right? He was a fireman? Oh, Nolan? Okay, so, all right.
Make a
Got it
motion.
wrong. Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Heydrich, to approve the reappointments of Police Officer Matthew Cooper and Chief of Police Ed Menifee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you. Thank you.
Citizen comments.
Is there anyone here who would like to address the council this evening on any item that is not on the agenda? Okay.
Do you have anything for your department?
I do have one thing, yeah. So, Council, just want to brief you on one item. Last Thursday, we were notified by East West Gateway Council of Governments that we did not receive the TAP grant for Front Street. If you recall, it's Transportation Alternative Program. It's an 80-20 cost share. We did apply to redo sidewalks, the pavers and things, intersections and whatnot. On Front Street, we did not make the cut on that. The good news is we are able then to pivot pretty quickly to apply for an STP grant, which is the same thing that we talked about over on High Street, from high to front. So I was busy putting that application together today. That opening is till February 11th. So just because we didn't get the TAP grant doesn't mean that we won't get the STP. Those are 2 different funding sources, and that is also an 80-20. So I'll be coming with you in the first meeting in February to hopefully get your support on a resolution for that application as well. So
Will that also include burying the lines down there?
those are 2 separate projects, but yeah. So the electrical burial We're waiting on Ameren to give us some plans to, just, I guess they're responsible for putting the plans together. Once that's done, then we'll come up with a schedule. We'll also come forth with who's going to be doing the work, because I think there was some money available there for some contracted work. Obviously, the city can handle a lot of this as well. And then we're hoping then after that to have the sidewalks and pavers and those things taken care of afterwards. So I'm doing my best to try to marry the schedules up, but I do have some concerns there might be a gap there. So hopefully I could pull this STP up a year earlier to try to get things moving along much quicker.
Trying to do phase 2 and phase 3 all at one time?
That would be one way to do it. The problem here is on an STP or a federal grant, 80/20 cost share, I mean, you're looking at a, $900,000 project. So you have a choice. You can either pay for that out of your own pockets, or we can try to get a grant and do an 80/20, which only costs about $180,000 on a job like that. So the problem with that is you're always then married to that schedule that STP has, which is typically 3 to 4 years. So I'm trying to get those things to get a little bit tighter to get those done, just to spend money as wisely as possible. So I think we'll have that choice in the future. It doesn't hurt us to apply for the grant and see what happens.
But what I meant, John, was, so the burial is not part
No.
of that grant?
It's not.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right.
Those are two separate things. Obviously, a burial will tear up sidewalk and pavement and that type of thing. So I'm just trying to find a way to spend the least amount of local funds as we possibly can. But once we get a schedule on the line burial, that'll drive some of that as well. You can always resend the money. So,
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Ordinances and resolutions. An ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 335, Schedule 2 of the Washington City Code by adding provisions for a stop sign at the location described below.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
and again, the location described below in the ordinance is Halls Green Road approaching Weber Heights Drive. That's in the Overlook Weber Farms. If you've not been out there, there's quite a bit of residential home construction going on. This is the connecting piece, basically that goes from Rabbit Trail up to Weber Heights. We're just putting a stop sign there, and per city code, you have to add that to the city code. So the other one's Maple Valley Court approaching Locust Street. That's the McBride development. So as you approach the intersection, it'd have a stop sign for Maple Valley, which would lead the Locust Street to be free flow traffic. Pretty straightforward.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay.
An ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 335, Schedule 2 of the Washington City Code by adding provisions for a stop sign at the location described below. Scornia,
Yes.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Obermark. Whoops. Patke,
Yes.
Hotmeyer,
Aye.
Solentrep,
Yes.
Wessels.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a Missouri State Highways and Transportation Commission Amendment Number 5 to State Block Grant Agreement.
Scornia.
Introduced by Councilman Scornia.
So, as you are aware, the airport layout plan has been approved by MoDOT. It took many years to get that done. It actually started prior to me even being here. But so it was completed last year in keeping up or following up with our reimbursement, because we have to do the work and then we submit a reimbursement request to MoDOT to pay for those federal dollars. We did that to close the project out. They realized that the grant deadline has already been passed, so we have to do an amendment in order for us to get our money back. So it's really just catching up on the paperwork so we can get reimbursed for the monies that we've already spent. And it is closing the project out.
Any questions or comments? Okay.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a Missouri State Highways and Transportation Commission Number 5 to State Block Grant Agreement. Scornia,
Yes.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Patke,
Yes.
Hotmeyer,
Aye.
Solentrep,
Yes.
Wessels.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance providing the approval and acceptance of minimum improvements for maintenance for Locust Valley subdivision in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Locust Valley subdivision is the residential homes being built by McBride. They do have the streets, piping, curb and gutter, and other improvements currently constructed and in place. We did inspect those. We do reserve a 20% maintenance bond for 2 years. That's in place if there was any deficiency to the infrastructure put in. Once we accept this, we'll do snowplow operations and start doing utility locates in the area. So this formally just takes over the infrastructure.
Okay.
What about the sewer and trash you're talking about? As far as cleaning up the snow
Yeah.
and the sewer and trash, if they build like 5 houses and they get them sold, people move in, what happens with the trash?
Their trash service, they sign up with the city and get service.
Okay, so those services will start, but the snow plowing won't until we
No,
accept it?
no, they all start. They all start. So trash service is that gets approved once there's occupancy goes into the home. They sign up for city services, water, sewer, trash, essentially. You can't do that until you accept the roadways themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do this step first before you can do that. Does that kind of make sense?
So that's 20%.
The 20% is the overall development cost
Mm-hmm.
for this infrastructure that goes, it's a bond, it's held for 2 years. So for example, if there was a sanitary sewer pipe collapse within that 2 years, they would be responsible for repairing that. If they don't repair it, we pull out of their bond. And that's set by city code. So we've never, to my knowledge, we've never had to actually enforce the bond. We've always just worked with the developer to get things done. One common one I see a lot is a concrete panel may crack on a street. I mean, that's a pretty common one. I don't typically make them remove and replace. We haven't typically done that. We make them router it out and crack seal it. So it's 2 years after the approval, we'll then do another inspection before we release this bond back to them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So it's just us taking it over. Like today, we don't do snowplow operations and we don't do utility locates because we haven't taken them over. Tomorrow, or hopefully you guys approve this, tomorrow we will start that. So it's just kind of that formal process. And that's all set by city code. So,
Any other questions? Okay.
An ordinance approving the approval and acceptance of minimum improvements for maintenance for Locust Valley subdivision in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Scornia,
Yes.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Patke,
Yes.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Sullendorf, Wessels.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
A resolution authorizing the city of Washington to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the high school High Street reconstruction and ADA improvement projects in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilman Patke.
okay, at the last meeting, the last operations meeting, I think I briefed you on High Street reconstruction from 5th Street to Front Street, new curb and gutter, new sidewalks, new overlay. If you look at the back of the ordinance, there is a 0.5% application fee. This resolution is required for us to submit for the grant. It's an 80-20 cost share. You can see they're estimated at 1.2 million. City match is somewhere around 240,000. Actually, it's 238,750. So I need your support in order to put the application in. The application deadline is February 11th. This is the same resolution. Essentially, I'll be coming with you on Front Street should you wish to allow me to proceed. It's a 2025, I believe.
Any questions, comments?
Okay, John, is this for work from 100 all the way down to front?
No, it's from 5th to front. Work from 100 to 5th is being done this year. It's already been bid. That Jokehurst was the low bid on that.
Right.
So that's from 100 to 5th. This is from 5th to front.
So that comment in the resolution is just saying that High Street's important from 100 to front.
Did I miss that?
It's like the first sentence in the resolution. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it just states the importance
Yeah,
of the roadway.
okay, all right.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right, I got you.
Anything else? Okay.
I need a second. It's a resolution.
It's a resolution, so we'll need a motion, and,
I'll make a motion.
Second.
okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Sullentrup, to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Mayor's report.
Okay, filing closed today for elected officials, and so we do have some races this year. I know you guys have been paying a little bit of attention to that. In Ward 1, for Nick's seat, we have 5 candidates: Dwayne Reed, Tessie Steffens, Louis Swoboda, Dan Contarini, and Justin Fuse. So that's 5 in Ward 1. In Ward 2, we have Mark Wessels and Carrie Clanky. Ward 3, we have Jeff. You're all by your lonesome. Okay. And Ward 4 is Joe Holtmeyer and Michael Johns. So we have some races this year. So anyway, but filing has officially closed, and then Sherry will get all that over to the county. And so we will be, and then that's really all, everything's done then, right? The county handles it from there on with the election and everything. Okay. All right, well, that's all I have.
City Administrator's report.
No report.
Council comments.
Yeah, John, I just got a question. If you live in an apartment complex, how do those people recycle? I mean, do they get a container, each apartment get a container, or how does that work?
No, apartment complexes are on a complex by complex basis. There is no specific mechanism to do some of those things. So some of these complexes don't have the facilities to put a large single-string bin. Some of them don't have the facilities to house 10 different, rolled containers. So there really is no specific solution to each and every one of them. It was a goal of ours to kind of go through every single one of them to look at providing an option, but there is no standard way to do it, basically just because that's how the complex operates.
This one was up on Jefferson Street behind Fisher's Chiropractic. That little, it's just a little,
Yep.
little apartment complex there.
I've had a couple landlords reach out to me in the past about how they would, kind of handle those things. They're really, like I said, it's a case-by-case basis, to be honest.
So the landlord has to contact you?
Yeah, the best thing to do is have them contact me, and then I can work through, the different scenarios and things. What I've seen, I'll give you an example, Carriage Court, for example, may have multiple different dumpster enclosures throughout the area, and they may want to dedicate one to be a single-stream dumpster, but how do you get a truck, a front-load truck potentially in that facility? So how do you, kind of manage those things? And it really is not, we haven't really been able to develop a specific, this is how you do it. So the best way to do is just have them contact me, and I'll work with each individual landlords. It's not that we don't want to do it.
Yeah,
It's just,
it was brought forward to me, and I just,
anytime you go into a facility, actually drive a vehicle into a facility, a private facility, it becomes pretty difficult. Truck sizes and that things, curbside doesn't work. And that's one of the reasons why really the option's still always at the recycling center too. I mean, it's not as convenient, but the option's still there.
okay. All right, thanks.
I wanted to let everybody know that I sent some pictures. I just forwarded some pictures to you, John, Darren, to you as well, and to the council. Maybe this is something we can discuss next meeting. These were brought forward to me from the city landfill about the debris that goes out on Bluff Road. These are pictures previous to the last week when we had all the complaints in one day. Like I say, I just thought I'd send these off to you guys, and then maybe we can discuss this next meeting.
I could address some of it now if you'd like, or, I mean, yeah, on last just to give everybody up to speed, and I didn't get.
And this was previous of that.
Yeah, we've had multiple instances of, obviously during wet times, freeze thaw situations, that there are people utilizing the landfill that may track out some mud and things on Strickoff Lane. What we've done to combat that is, and actually we've been working with DNR today about it, but what we've done to combat that is I had the street sweeper actually run Bluff Road on its way in, on its way out, because it does go there a couple times a day, basically. What we've also been doing a much better job is documenting the source of some of this. Now, again, I cannot deny that there may be a track out situation here, there, everywhere, at various times. But what we've seen is there are times where the ag operations, Bluff Road is not owned or maintained by the city, that there are neighbors also track out on the Bluff Road frequently. So last Friday, we had a situation where there was quite a bit of track out from our neighbors, city neighbors, has nothing to do with the landfill operation. That coincided with cindering operations by the county. So those things kind of married up on Friday afternoon. The county contacted us because they were concerned about us sweeping up their cinders. We were just trying to solve a problem that we knew everybody was going to have and just try to eliminate some of those complaints. As of today, I contacted the county and said, we will not be sweeping Bluff Road anymore unless the county requests it or it's determined that it did come from the city landfill. So rather than us proactively doing it, we'll make a determination to do it because the county, essentially was upset that we were doing it in the first place. So that's what we were going to move forward with. I'm also going to look at maybe putting in some debris grates, essentially on Strickoff Lane, that maybe could rattle some of the debris off. And then I also had Tony make sure that we get enough rock and things at the landfill. So we're battling a couple different things here. Obviously, debris on Bluff Road always looks like the landfill. I can assure you it is not always the landfill. We fought with private haulers losing trash coming into the landfill on Bluff Road. We've proactively picked that up in the past. I'm not so sure we should have done that. I know it's our landfill, but it's not being generated from our landfill. It's coming to us, no different than litter somewhere else. So I'm working through with the county on that, Mark, just to answer your question. I mean, that's a long answer.
Right.
There really is no perfect answer. It's just us coordinating and make sure that we don't make a situation worse for the county and vice versa. Because that's what we want to do.
And I made sure these pictures weren't from last Friday. I already talked to Darren about it already, and we went over it, and he explained everything you just did, which I get it, and we came up with the tractor that made the mess and everything else. It wasn't the landfill. But according to this gentleman that sent me these, he said this was weeks before and all this, and they just wanted to bring it to the attention that it's a lot of mess coming out of there.
Yeah. Well, and that's, and we, like I said, we're inspecting that twice, 3 times a day, and we are if there is determined it's coming from the landfill, we take care of that really, really quickly, to be honest with you. So,
Well, some of these pictures will show you coming, I mean, they have it right out of the drive.
Strickoff Lane, well, keep in mind, there's farming operations that are our neighbors that, again, we don't,
Right.
It's not our jurisdiction to do those. So you truly have to track that all the way back to the landfill. It's not as cut and dry as it coming down Strickoff Lane because there's 2 farming operations, which is what happened on Friday, where it came from. So it's not as cut and dry as, oh yeah, it's coming from that direction. It's just not. But we'll do a much better job documenting those things, and that way I can more definitively give everyone an answer of when it happens. This is where it came from per the investigation. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, the photos you sent didn't come through.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
Didn't get it?
No, I didn't get them either. So I don't know what you're talking about, really. So if you
Gotta
want to
hit
send them
send.
again?
Well,
What'd you say?
you
gotta
did
hit
send it,
send.
Mark, but I don't think the images came through, so you may have to just resend.
Oh, really?
Just so you know.
Yeah, it did not. I can't, there's nothing to click on.
Okay, on another note, you done, Mark? I don't know if you guys are getting phone calls or not, but if you are, in reference to the houses that's over here by the hospital, they're all boarded up. I had contacted Eric today and spoke to him, And I just wanted to update everybody, so if you do get calls on it, at least you'll know what's going on. So according to him, they're going to be getting bids in this Friday for taking all those buildings down. And there are a couple of the houses that they're going to have to get abatements from the city, so they'll be coming to us for that. And they're going to be coming within the next couple of weeks getting permits.
Sounds good.
But that's the plan, that they're going to be tearing them down, but they want to keep a couple of them for the fire department, for them to practice on 2 houses, I think. They're going to give them 2 of them to practice on, and then they'll do the abatement on that, and then tear that one down after the fire department has practice on those 2 homes. So they're all local contractors that are bidding on this, tearing all these houses down. So those bids are supposed to be in this Friday.
It'll be a much improved.
That's good. Right
In that
now,
area.
looks pretty bad for the city coming in, seeing the
Yeah.
board up houses. That's-
Yeah, I'm glad they're going to stick with it and hopefully get them all tore down and make it look a lot better when you're coming into town, especially
Yeah.
on the bridge or going
Be a
out of
big
town from
improvement.
47.
Big improvement. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
I do have one more thing I forgot to mention. We had a water main break this morning on 3rd Street, just east of 47 by the hospital. That water main break got underneath the pavement signal loops that control the intersection. I would just ask that everyone avoid 3rd Street going westbound. It should not affect anything on 47 or anything eastbound on 3rd Street, but westbound on 3rd at the intersection, I would just ask that people avoid that. The tentative plan is, I think we can we fixed the break. We're hoping we can get asphalt by the end of the week, and then get a contractor to come in and repair the loop, hopefully first part of next week. So we're doing our best to get everything kind of patched back up to the way it was. But I wouldn't utilize westbound 3rd Street by the hospital, and I do not think that affects a lot of people. You can just turn on Washington and then go to 5th. So.
And by the way, Steve, I did hit send, but it's not letting all the attachments, for some reason, to be attached to it. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I was
Jeff,
having
Packy and I were talking about this earlier. I've been having problems with my iPad, so I don't know what's going on.
Could I ask Mark Scornia, I understand now we've got some eligibility things coming up on the vaccine, more of them. So I was just wondering if we've got any more word on how those things are going to be handled, and getting those things into people's arms.
Yeah, good question. Good evening, distinguished council.
Distinguished, Steve.
Remembered.
No.
Okay, we've been having meetings, Franklin County Emergency Management, myself, the manager of the hospital pharmacy. We've been meeting for about the past month regarding how we felt the next round of vaccinations were going to be going and how we could handle that as a community. Actually, myself, I was hoping we were just going to, the state would move the 1As, the responders, up next, so it wasn't going to be more than we could chew. We weren't biting off more than we could chew, have vaccines. Well, last week, the Department of Health and Senior Services announced that they opened up tiers 1 and 2 in phase 1B, which essentially is responders, police officers, firefighters, emergency managers, all the above, and those over 65 and those with critical health issues. So that's a pretty big chunk of people. You look at Franklin County, you look at the demographics of Franklin County, it's probably anywhere between 18 and 20% of Franklin County is over 65. So Franklin County is slightly over 100,000, so that's 20,000 people. That's a big chunk of people that are eligible to be vaccinated. So the limitation at this time is the vaccination, or the vaccine that's coming in. And when you look at those same numbers statewide, it's approximately 3 to 3.5 million people are over in Missouri are over 65, and the state is getting in approximately 70,000 doses a week from the manufacturers. So, you know, that is the big limiting factor. Right now, Mercy does have some inventory, and Councilman Wessels was asking about it. There is a link that Mercy has, and it's listed under the county's website, and we also, Sherry and I posted it on city's Facebook, so people can go in and click on that link and begin to register. Mercy, that they are vaccinating daily based on the people who are registered, who have applied and who have received reservations. I will point out it's by reservation only, by appointment only. You know, there's no walk-ins allowed. It's by registration, and they're doing it daily. And they are having they were doing it during the week, Monday through Friday. This weekend, they're also going to be expanding to do it Saturday and Sunday. And they're hoping to get a little over 500 a day done each day this weekend.
Mark, where are they doing that at?
They're doing it on the second floor of the hospital, on the backside of the cafeteria by the bridge.
And for the elderly people who aren't savvy on computers, do they call the hospital?
They can call, or hopefully, you know, they have a neighbor or someone who could reach out and help, you know, to get it going at this
They
point.
said in the paper they're going to move it to patients first next week.
That's after the 1st. Yeah, that will be, which leads me to where I'm going. So we had a very productive meeting with the county Thursday, and plans are, you know, for countywide, there's going to be a community vaccination at the Union City Auditorium, to where we're going to get volunteers together. Mercy is supporting, others are supporting. The county's wanting to enter into agreements with BJC, Compass Health Systems, and Mercy, enter into memorandums of understanding to provide vaccine and provide vaccinations. At this point, it's my understanding that right now only Mercy has an inventory in Franklin County. So they're doing the vaccinations. Franklin County is planning on the vaccination at Union on Saturday the 30th at the auditorium, and they're hoping to get 1,000 people vaccinated. And once again, that's driven on availability of vaccine. If there's enough vaccine, that's what they're going to shoot for. Franklin County is working on a registration system as well, so stay tuned on that, to where folks, for that vaccination at the auditorium, there will be some place where they can go.
So, but you would have to register with the county then? Because if you register with...
The way I understand it, yes.
Okay.
Because that's going to be a
Sponsored by
county
them.
one
You
as
know,
opposed to Mercy.
When I went to the county website to check on that, they had the link to My Mercy Mo vaccine.
Yes.
So the county was kicking them back at least a
Correct.
few days ago.
Because the other one isn't up and running yet.
Okay, all right.
The other is not up yet. So more to come on that. I'm sure the county
Okay.
will be
And I-
bringing that out.
I kind of agree with Steve in the sense that, yeah, I think for some folks, you know, who don't feel comfortable online, I imagine a phone system could be a real nightmare. You could be on hold for days like we see on news. But I just think that there ought to be some other way for somebody who just doesn't feel competent or whatever in going online and registering.
Well, there are plans. In the meeting we had with the county Thursday, the county is planning on rolling out some sort of a phone bank
Okay.
to kind of
All right.
assist, to assist with that, to do some manual entry, to assist the people who cannot do it online.
All right.
Mark, and there's no cost to the individual for this vaccine?
That is correct.
Because I asked that a couple of times, and I
Yep.
told them no.
There is no cost for this vaccine. That is correct. So you'll see there will be more and more coming out as far as how you can register. Right now, people, we're just registering to get in the queue. There's only so much vaccine, and that's going to be the limiting factor for quite a while here is just getting enough vaccine to get in people's arms.
Not only just give them the vaccine once, but having to give it to them twice.
That bingo.
You know, you talk about 300 million people in the United States, you're going to have to vaccine 600 million people to get them all.
You're going to have 600 million people, 600 million doses for 300 million people.
Right.
If they all want. Exactly correct. Yep. So that's part of it too, is when the inventory comes in, not only do they have to have the doses right now for the people who are getting vaccinated, and right now they're working on the Pfizer vaccine, which is approximately 21 days down the line, have to have that inventory for 21 days for those folks to get that vaccine. And they register you right then and there when you get the first vaccine. You're given appointments to where you can get your second one.
You know, one of the other ways I was thinking, when you let, you know, maybe city staff know that vaccines are available, whatever, but, you know, we get those messages in our monthly bills, and our water bill and so forth, you know, so I was thinking if there's a way to notify our citizens of, you know, we could list the website and if that
You add
phone
that
bank
in
ever
there?
gets through.
Sure, it can.
You know, just something to add in there.
Is up this month, you know, this coming up month, but let's look into that, so.
If
Well,
the
yeah.
vaccines are in, you hate to give them false hopes too.
Yeah, well, that's the other side of it, and I saw one of the news agencies in St. Louis was sort of advocating people registering on multiple sites, and it's like,
Oh, gosh.
Well, you can understand it.
Well, you can register as many places as you want.
yeah, but, yeah, I think that would muddy the issue tremendously if you just stay with one site. So, and then another one, you know, to muddy the issue a little further, the length in between immunizations is slightly different between the Pfizer, which is 21 days, and Moderna, which is 28 days. So, you know, you get.
So if you
into
start
that.
with one, I guess you have to go,
Well, yeah, ideally, we're, you know, in discussions we're having with the county, that ideally, we want to stay with, you know, wherever
whatever-
the
wherever you
vaccination's
start.
taking place, one manufacturer
Yes.
is used there, so that you don't run into some people 21, some people 28.
right.
Just, you know, there's enough confusion out there as it is without adding to it, so.
Guess you can't just get one in each arm when you do show up.
Great shot, man. It wouldn't be like when we were kids, Mark, and you just, you know, lined up in the auditorium, they came by with the gun and went,
Yep.
Yeah.
got everybody as the kids walked by, but, so more to come, and I'm sure Franklin County Health Department will be rolling out a lot more information as it becomes available.
Thank
to
you.
us. So, good question. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else? Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we
So
have any?
moved.
No executive session?
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So we have a motion by Sully, seconded by Mark, I guess. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?